Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.
Strictly for the culture. Brothers and sisters, you have seen the t-shirts, the hats, the hoodies, the mugs in the hands of some of your favorite pro wrestling stars, podcasters, and influencers out there. And now it's time. Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca and you too can be part of the movement. Bigger than sweatshirts and commercial success, Strictly for the Culture aims to build with like-minded people and elevate their position in the world through knowledge, self-love, and a desire to unite. So what are you waiting on? Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca. Do it for the love. Do it for the knowledge. Most importantly, folks, do it strictly for the culture.
You're locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey, how you doing? This is Hall of Famer Devon Dudley here. And you're listening to Duke Live Wrestling. Oh, testify.
Brothers and sisters, we are kicking off this episode with a huge treat here. I mean, legitimately, a man who's on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest tag teams of all time. Someone that you will be able to see at the River City Wrestling Con coming up Sunday, June 9th this year. And also, one of the people who's the subject of the upcoming edition of WWE Rivals on A&E. So without further ado, welcome to Duke Loves Rasslin, the Hall of Famer himself, Devon Dudley. How you doing there, brother Devon?
I'm doing all right. Busy morning for me. Got a lot of things going on. But then again, that's just my life. Busy, busy, busy.
Yes, sir. I mean, listen, man, you know, quote unquote, retirement doesn't really seem much like retirement at all because you haven't stopped going, huh?
Haven't stopped going behind the scenes. And apparently I haven't stopped going in front of the camera either. You know, with Bubba and I coming back and, you know, doing our thing once again. I swore I would never get back in the ring, but I guess the theory holds true when you never say never, you know, especially in the wrestling business. But, you know, I'm okay with that. But still, it's just, man, my body has taken a beating. And being that, you would think that I'd have common sense to stop. But no, I'm not.
Well, speaking of that, congratulations on WWE Rivals. I mean, legitimately one of the bigger shows on A&E. And this episode is interesting. First of all, Rivals, you have everything from Hogan and Andre, Austin and Rock. So the fact that the latest episode, March 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on A&E, the latest episode, brothers and sisters, Hardy Boys versus Dudley Boys versus Edge and Christian. How does it feel all these years later to still get this type of respect for that work that you put in back then, bro?
It's, you know, it's a great honor that the WWE has recognized that 6 individuals who were in their early 20s and now old as shit, you know, recognized us for doing what we did best. And that was go out there and to perform. We basically went out there and put our bodies and lives on the line. We had a whole bunch of sacrifices away from our families and things like that, just to be number one. And, you know, I'm honored and privileged that they recognize that in putting it into the show, the WWE Rivals. Because, you know, we're up against so many others, you know, The Rock and Cena, you know, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, so many great people that have come before us and have had tremendous matches are being told, you know, about the story leading up to those matches. And for them to actually want to do that with the 6 of us, I mean, I can't be on any big of a high than I am now.
It's really cool because I know that you have your wrestling academy, and we've had so many of your wonderful students over the 8-year period that the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast has been around. I mean, so many great folks there. Casey Lennox, Scotty Sosa, aka Scotty Sparks, just wonderful folks. So for you to be on WWE Rivals on A&E, you can literally show that to your students and say, see? So when I tell you to do something in the ring, just a reminder, especially for the younger folks, I think I know what I'm talking about here. I mean, how does that help you in those situations?
I do that now. I tell them, because, it's like your parents, your parents know best. But sometimes because they're your parents, you would rather take advice from somebody else because it's not your parents. That's just the way it is. And it's always been like that. So I kind of look at them as my kids, where, they are looking for me for advice, wisdom, and guidance. And I do that. But sometimes, they get a little bit of big head or what have you, and they got to go off and stray and do what they got to do. But they always wind up coming back, which is something that I pride myself on. Not that they come crawling back, but they come back knowing that what I was saying about things out there is so true, and that they come back humbled more than they were when they came in.
That's great. That's great stuff. And I mean, listen, the foundation of a lot of those lessons go all the way back to Gleason's Gym. When I say Gleason's Gym, what comes to mind when I say that to you?
Blood, sweat, and tears. Gleason's was where I got the knowledge and learned from the unpredictable Johnny Rodz. I learned my craft 5.5, 6 years at his wrestling school, and didn't leave until he saw that I was ready, because he was the one that made the phone call to ECW and to Taz and to say, hey, listen, I got this kid. I think he would run circles around all of you guys. And I remember when he told me that, I said, why would you tell him that? I was like, have you seen that show? These guys are they're freaking barbaric. I don't feel like getting hit with a barbed wire bat just because you ran your mouth, Johnny, and got me killed. I mean, I didn't say it like that, all due respect to Johnny, but I was nervous as hell when he made that phone call. I didn't know what to expect. I remember Taz telling me, Devon, don't worry about it. I know how Johnny is. I was like, ooh, thank God. But it was truly an honor to be able to go down there and learn from one of the greats. And I say that because did he win a lot of matches? No. But did he make a lot of talent? Absolutely. Roddy Piper, the late, great Roddy Piper, Hall of Famer, basically put Johnny in his book and thanked Johnny for showing him the ropes during his younger days, and said that if it wasn't for Johnny, he don't know if he would have survived. And so many of us have learned from Johnny. Myself, the late, great Big Dick Dudley, Mondo Clean, Hugh Morris, Tommy Dreamer, Taz. I mean, he had a list of people come out of his school. Angel from the Baldies in ECW. God, so many others, and I'm sorry.
Big Vito Lagrazo.
The main one, Big Vito. He came out of there. And if I have omitted anyone, I apologize. But he is responsible for so many people coming out of his school. And the great thing about it is I'm following right in his legacy. I'm doing the same thing. A host of students that have come out of my school that have gone on to bigger and better things in the wrestling business, whether it be WWE, whether it be NXT, whether it be New Japan, All Japan, and even some in AEW. But a lot of them have left the school learning with the knowledge and gone on to be extremely successful.
Absolutely. And the proof's in the pudding, folks. So definitely check out devonacademy.com. You can get more information about Devon Dudley's wrestling school and how you can be part of that if you are an aspiring wrestler, or even if you're a wrestler who needs to go back to the toolbox, so to speak. Check out Devon Wrestling Academy. You will appreciate it, I'm telling you. And again, you just take a look at some of the folks who have come through there and what they're doing today to understand it's legitimate. For sure. And shout out to Johnny Rodz, the Hall of Famer himself. It's awesome that you still show him such respect and reverence there. That's good stuff there.
Absolutely. He's like my dad, and I tell him that all the time. I call him at least 2 to 3 times, maybe even 4 times a month to make sure he's doing okay and to hear those Johnny Rodz stories, you know. I can't go on without hearing those stories. He is a man that knows the business, knows how to present himself in a manner where he is respected the way he is. And I'm just happy that I was able to learn under his learning tree.
Absolutely. And it's funny because, and we talked a little bit about her offline, but Scotty Sosa is somebody who is always putting you over just as a great teacher, patient teacher, and somebody who she takes a look at your body of work, and that's something that she strives for. And again, she's a friend of the show, so it's cool. It's really cool to have one of your kids put you over like that, and then to have you on and you're putting over your trainer. That degree of respect and reverence is huge, man.
Absolutely. You know, you call her Scotty, I call her Jordan. When she came to my school, I basically saw the hunger in her eyes. I basically saw how much she wanted it. You know, now the thing about it is you can want it all day, but you have to prove it. You know, this business isn't ballet. So it's not going to be something overnight that you're able to conquer and be successful at. You got to put the time, work, and effort into it. And, you know, I've always said to her and so many others, you know, if you ever need me, here's my phone number. Call me. It doesn't have to be during school hours. It can be after hours, just not 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And other than that, and some of them have used it, some of them have done it. She's definitely has done that. And whenever there was a personal problem, what have you, she's come to me and asked me, and I helped her work it out.
I love that. Again, that's that spirit of respect. It's interesting, Devon, because I did a write-up about you on my Facebook page for Black History Month. I honored a different icon in wrestling throughout the month. And the response that people gave to that was tremendous because we don't normally get a biography of you in that form. And I'm challenging everybody out there. Listen, make sure you're writing about Devon because he is an icon. He is a trailblazer. He is somebody who has paved the way for so many, especially black and brown wrestlers. And we need to make sure we honor our brother in that light.
Well, I thank you, number one, for that, because not even WWE has done that for me. You know, there's been countless times during Black History Month where they've put everybody else on the poster or has acknowledged them, but didn't acknowledge me, which is fine. You know, I'm not upset or angry about it, but it's just a fact. And I don't know, maybe because my brother was white. I don't know. I don't get it, but that is the truth. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure some powers to be like, oh, that's not true. Well, show me one poster during Black History Month that you have put me on, and I can show you some that you have not.
Well, we're definitely putting the challenge out there, including to our friends in WWE. Listen, make sure you honor Devon. You should be doing it throughout the year, and certainly WWE Rivals is a great example of doing that. But Black History Month, we got to shout our brother out. I bring that up, Devon, because I've never heard a bad word about you. People have said nothing but positive things about you on this show and to me personally. And that's very rare because you can always find somebody that has a problem somewhere.
Make sure you don't ask any of my ex-wives.
See, you're going to get yourself in trouble now, man. I was building you up. See? Well, something weird happened recently. And a couple of folks had reached out to me about it because it was so outside of the ordinary, where someone was extremely disrespectful to you and in front of other folks, in front of your peers. And I got to ask you about it, Devon, because it's not right. You know what I mean? It's not right from what I was told, but I want to hear it directly from you. So there's a guy named Dylan Hines who is well known for doing bookings for wrestlers and things like that. He said some not so nice things to you, and you had to respond to him. What happened?
Well, basically, the people who brought me into the show in Chillicothe, Ohio, basically we get there with Alberto Del Rio, and we couldn't find the table. So they tried to contact Dylan and pretty much said, hey, Dylan, we can't find our table. What's going on? And people have already made their way inside the building. So it was a little hectic. And he kind of brushed them off. And he was like, I don't have time right now. Go find my father and this and that. Find the table yourselves. I can't help you right now. And I was like, wow. I said, okay. And so there had been a few times after that where he passed by, didn't say hello, didn't say anything, or apologize for that little thing. So no big deal. So then he comes over and he just throws some 8x10s, or I think they were bigger than 8x10s, but he threw them on the table and said, tell Devon to sign these. Number one, I'm not signing anything. You can't even come up to me and say hello, but yet you're going to throw something on the desk and tell the people that brought me in, just tell Devon to sign these. Number one, I don't work for you, regardless if it's your show or not. And it's not even your show. It's your father's show. And he tried to pretty much tell me that, oh, no, this is my show. I said, okay, without your father, without Bobby, you wouldn't have what you have right now. And he goes, you're not going to sign this? I go, no. When you act like that, no, I'm not going to sign it. He goes, well, get out, pack your stuff, and you guys have to leave. And I told myself, I'm not going anywhere. I was like, if you want me to go somewhere, have your father tell me. Then I'll walk. I was like, but you're dumb ass. I ain't moving. Well, I'll call the police and have you escort out. I think you better do that. By the way, when you do that, you better have an ambulance on the way. Because by the time the cops come here to escort me, I'm going to be in cuffs, and your ass going to be wheeled off in an ambulance. That I promise you. And, he started trying to be all tough and that. And I told him, I said, I will knock your head clear off your shoulders. I was like, you better back up. And then his father came over, Bobby, and was like, hey, what's going on? I said, Bobby, your son is being very rude and this and that about signing something that I had no knowledge of signing. And Dylan kept trying to intervene until Bobby told him to shut up and be respectful. And basically at that point, he kept talking to the point where Bobby, his own father, threw him out the building. And apparently he was having problems with other people there as well. Sandman, Francine, Guido, Jimmy Hart, and poor Bill Abner was only doing his job, came in because of his fault, because of Bobby Fulton, and Dylan gets mad at him and tells what's the name, that you're fired. Don't come back here.
He fired Bill Apter, the legend Bill Apter?
Legend Bill Apter. He goes, you're fired. Get out. Because he wouldn't bow down to Dylan or wouldn't do what Dylan said. So he fired him. And then Bobby found out about it and told him, he's like, don't worry about that. You're not fired. Go ahead and do your thing. So he had to pretty much cover up for his son. But again, these are incidents that I'm hearing that has been happening a lot with him. And, my thing is, when is enough's enough with this guy? And then he had the nerve to tell me, you'll never work for me again. I promise you. I said, good, because I don't work for you now. I go, what is your problem? I said, what, are you that deranged? I don't even work for you. How the hell you tell me I'm not going to work for you ever again? I don't work for you. I don't even like you. And I told his father, I said, you know what? I will do this for you. I will do this for you. I'll sign it for you. But for Dylan, I have no respect for.
It's interesting. The wrestling industry, so much has improved, thank goodness, from what it used to be. And yet you have some of these, dare I say, carny figures who don't know when to realize, hey, that's not the way to do business. For exactly. Him to make demands of you and to be so disrespectful about it is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, regardless if him and the people who brought me in, if he said that, I mean, like Bobby Fulton said, he goes, Devon, we gave you guys a table and we just would like for you to sign a couple of these. If Dylan would have came over and said that and just said hello and how you doing and this and that, thank you for coming to the show, that would have been more. Sorry about earlier on. Things were so hectic. I was running around and didn't know what to do. That would have been more. I would have had no issues of signing. I never do. I've had people come to me before at these signings and ask me to sign extra. And I got no problems with it. But when you're as rude as Dylan was and you do things like that, that's where I have the problem. And when his own father tells me, he goes, this new generation now, they have no respect. I'm so sorry for my son's actions, Devon. He was like, you should not have been told or treated that way and blah, blah, blah. I said, Bobby, it's okay. I said, I'm not worried about him right now. I said, but please keep your son away from me.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know what I mean? That wouldn't be a pretty situation for sure. And listen, for everybody out there, it's tax season. So, you get all these newly minted promoters and folks out there who have a couple extra bucks and they want to spend it, want to be part of the wrestling industry, and that's okay. It could be a payday for somebody, which is always welcome, but you got to do good business, and you treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't disrespect anybody, and don't disrespect the wrestlers, please. These are our heroes, and if it wasn't for the sacrifices they made, including Dylan's father, by the way, if it wasn't for the sacrifices they made, God only knows where most of us would be. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Devon, the things that you have sacrificed in your life to entertain people like myself and the audience listening, you saved our lives, man. You gave us something to care about and something to pay attention to. And for me personally, I had to get my homework done so I could go watch wrestling. I had to do the chores so I could go watch wrestling. You kept me out of trouble. You and your peers, man. So thank you, first and foremost, on behalf of all of your fans. And again, for all of you wannabe promoters out there, please just be respectful. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And don't put yourself in a position like, unfortunately, Dylan Hines, who I hope learns his lesson, did there, because that just is uncalled for. Anyway, once again, devonacademy.com. Folks, you can check that out. If you want to be trained properly, definitely, I put my stamp on it because, again, we've had so many of Devon's wonderful students on the show, and we know what he's all about. We've seen his body of work. You can't beat it. Also, Devon Dudley 96@gmail.com for all bookings and things like that. Testify Devon on all your social media if you want to reach out as well. Devon, you got a lovely wife, man. I'm not going to let you get away without giving her a shot out there.
I hate putting her over because then when I put her over, she makes me pay for it.
She's the real star in the house. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, I noticed. She gets more followers and people on social media asking her questions than I do. I'm like, damn. I said, wait a minute. Hello, I'm Devon. Hello.
see, chopped liver now, man. That's the way it is there. So once again, River City Wrestling Con, what can folks expect when they see you this year? Because I know it's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Well, I think it's going to be bigger and better than ever. We have new merchandise, new pictures to sell, things like that. And we have new action figures coming out due to the Legends deal with WWE. A big shout out to the WWE. Thank you so much for even all the love and support over the years. I mean, grant you, minus the Black History Month, but that's okay. But in all seriousness, these guys have been in my corner since day one. They've made me the superstar that I am, where I was able to, do what you said, help you stay out of trouble and so many other people, and give you guys reasons to want to get home and watch the show. That's all due to WWE and what they've done for me. This whole Legends deal gave us action figures, T-shirts, put us on a new video game. So I'm very happy about that. And I was just at the big event in Brentwood, Long Island, and somebody brought me a tag team belt that was made by the WWE and has the Dudley Boys written all over it. It's like a Dudley Boys tag team belt, which I was very happy to sign. So it's new merchandise that's come out. And if I'm not mistaken, I think what do you call those, Funkos? I think they'll be out next year. So even more stuff that's coming out with the Dudleys. It's a very good year for us, for Bubba and myself, and we're just, recreating history once again. And, Bubba and I will be in a town near you, getting ready, whether it be back in TNA or WWE or where have you. Bubba and I are back, and we're going to be right back doing the greatest hits once again.
What a great conversation there with the Hall of Famer himself, Devon Dudley. Just a fantastic human being there. And listen, he's putting WWE over, which is awesome. The new Legends deal, so fantastic. Of course, folks, you can catch Devon at the River City Wrestling Con coming up June 9th. That's a Sunday. So definitely bring all your things to sign and make sure you get your pictures with Devon, of course. Obviously, WWE Rivals, Sunday. Let me say that again. Sunday, the 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on A&E. Definitely want to check that out. Devon and Bubba, the Dudley boys, they're in there. And it's all about their rivalry with Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys. So really should be a huge episode there. Can't wait to see that. But what an interesting thing we stumbled upon there. I had written a Black History Month acknowledgement of Devon, just like I did for a lot of other folks throughout the month. Rodney Mack and Jazz and Reggie B. Fine. Shout out to Reggie B. The Rock. Whole host of folks. Aja Kong, a whole host of wonderful folks. Scoot Andrews, the Black Nature Boy, great friend of the show as well. Did a whole, detailed write-up throughout the days there. And you can check out the Duke Loves Rasslin Facebook and just use the hashtag Black History Month to see some of those there. You can see the whole listing. Did one on Devon and shared it with Devon. And it was interesting to talk about it here on the show. And he points out that for the most part, the WWE does not include Devon when they are celebrating figures who they acknowledge during Black History Month. And that is just a terrible omission. Now, look, I don't believe that that's on purpose. I think that's just a honest mistake there, but it's a mistake. That should be corrected, And talking to people about Devon and even bringing that fact up, a lot of folks are like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point. We don't traditionally see Devon Dudley mentioned during Black History Month when we talk about great Black wrestlers in history and all that good stuff there." Let me say this, and we'll make this a clip as well, so you share this with everybody, because I want to go strong on this one and be very, very clear, okay? When you talk about Devon Dudley, it's time for us to stop. And I'm saying us, I'm putting myself there included, and I'm challenging myself in this. It's time for all of us to stop underrating this legend, because that's essentially what we're doing. We are underrating a legend. Devon Dudley is a Hall of Famer, a WWE Hall of Famer. Devon Dudley is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Devon Dudley is one of the most accomplished wrestlers of all time. Devon Dudley is one of the greatest Black wrestlers of all time. Devon Dudley is one of the most accomplished Black wrestlers of all time. Devon Dudley absolutely should be acknowledged as the icon that he is in general. Tag team wrestler in general. And he absolutely should be acknowledged as one of the greatest black, let me say that again, Black wrestlers of all time. We are missing the boat by not acknowledging this icon for all of the wonderful, great things that he's done. And I'm emphasizing Black for this reason. It is only in recent memory, throughout the hundreds, plural, hundreds of years history of the wrestling industry, it is only recently that Black wrestlers are even afforded the opportunity to compete on a somewhat even playing field with their white peers. That's a fact. And even to this day, there are still a lot of issues with equity and diversity and inclusion and what have you there. And yet, despite all of that, Devon Dudley, because of his determination, because of his skill, because of his greatness, was able to push through and accomplish so much. We are missing the boat. We have failed this legend by not uplifting him and acknowledging him in the same manner that we do so many others. And when I say so many others, I'm just talking about those who have risen to the occasion to be as accomplished, to be Hall of Famers and what have you, because they're part of the 1%. But Devon Dudley, as a Black man in an industry that has never been easy for a Black man to even exist in, never mind be a decorated champion and a Hall of Famer, to be an all-time great, for Devon Dudley to accomplish what he's accomplished, it is incredibly poor on our part for not uplifting this man more. We got to do it. We got to do it. I'm challenging myself to do it. And I'm going to say something. Devon's name was not one of the first names that came to mind when I was doing my Black History Month acknowledgments. And when I thought about it, I was like, damn, I got to do one on Devon. Why haven't I ever done one on Devon before? You know, it's crazy. So it's not like I'm calling other people out and I'm not looking at myself as well. I'm challenging myself as well. But seriously, brothers and sisters, we got to do better than that. WWE, you got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. That's an icon, period, regardless of race, regardless of gender. That's an icon, Devon Dudley. But when you look at the fact that so few Black wrestlers have ever even been afforded an opportunity, it's not that they weren't as good or they're not as great or they couldn't have done it. Historically, the system has prevented folks from being able to accomplish. So for somebody like Devon Dudley to even accomplish what he's accomplished, it's so rare. He is literally a percent of the percent, right? He is a percent of the 1%. Devon Dudley is rare, unfortunately. And that's why training the next generations, plural, of wrestlers is so important, because he is paving the way for other folks to have just a little bit more of an easier time getting there, which is just fantastic. And so selfless of Devon to even take the time to do that, because he could just coast on his own legacy and say to hell with it. But instead, he's paving the way for others and helping others and guiding them. And we've had some of those folks on the show. We know it. And when you turn on TV, all the major promotions, you can see folks who've been trained by Devon, or, you know, whether he was their main trainer, they've actually gone to his school to get some finishing, which happens a lot. And I don't think we acknowledge that enough either. Just because you started training with somebody, that doesn't mean that that's it. A lot of folks go and get finishing as well, which makes sense. So I'm just, you know, I'm disappointed in all of us, myself included, that we haven't given this brother his flowers in an adequate manner, because we exalt so many others. And I'm not trying to take away from anybody else, so I'm not going to name any names in that regard. But I will say we gotta speak Devon's name a lot louder and a lot more frequently, because he's earned that. We're not giving him anything. That brother did it. He earned that right. So, Devon Dudley, shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you, respect you, love you. Thank you for all that you've accomplished and all that you've done for us as fans and all that you continue to do. You know, especially as we continue to see your students go out there and make a way for themselves as well. And listen, you heard him. we haven't seen the last of Bubba and Devon in a wrestling ring. We're going to see the Dudley boys again in a wrestling ring, whether it be TNA or WWE, Japan, wherever. The Dudley boys are open for business. They got that fresh WWE Legends contract. The Dudley boys are open for business. So that's exciting. That's exciting. But definitely, we got to give this man his flowers because we shouldn't be waiting for people to pass on before we turn around and say, oh, yeah, so-and-so was great. And I know some humanoid out there is going to say, well, he's already in the Hall of Fame, Duke. What's the big deal? Well, it's a big deal because we don't mention him enough. It's not a name that comes up enough. Why? Because I'll tell you what, when we start talking about great matches, period, great matches, you're not going to get through too many matches before you talk about a Dudley Boys match, right? No one can say that the TLC matches and legitimately the feuds with Edge and Christian and the Hardys, hell, the matches they've had with the Usos and what have you. No one can say that those weren't great matches. And when we talk about great matches, they get brought up, and it doesn't even have to be tag team matches. Those matches come up in conversation naturally because they're innovative, because they're some of the greatest matches of all time, because they've sparked and inspired generations since who are still trying to replicate stuff that those guys were doing. So give that man his flowers, please. And certainly this was this is me putting skin in the game, so to speak, having Devon on and letting him know how much he's meant to me and to us, just in general as fans. So great stuff there. Listen, we're going to take a short break, but when we return, I told you last week, we started off with Kaylee, and I said that I'm going to bring on another wrestler who has made it to nationals, high school nationals. And what's interesting about our next guest is that he's just a freshman. He's just a freshman. And he's already made it to wrestling on the varsity team. And now he's going to nationals. It's just incredible. So, quick break. When we come back, we have the Big A. That's right. Let's talk hydration. See, I carry something to drink with me every single place that I go because I am concerned about being dehydrated. It runs in the family. Everything from dry mouth, dizzy spells, fainting. It's pretty serious. And I've tried all the different types of waters and sports drinks. Let me tell you something right now. Liquid IV. That has been the most efficient at keeping me hydrated and doing so pretty quickly. Okay, Liquid IV has 5 essential vitamins and is 2 times faster at keeping you hydrated than water alone. And I'm serious, man. Everything from vitamin C to vitamins B3, B5, B6, B12. Liquid IV also is non-GMO, so it's free from gluten, dairy, soy. So for all you folks out there with food allergies, this may be right up your alley. And I know what you're thinking, but how does it taste, Duke? Well, it tastes pretty good. Okay, we're talking my favorite in pina colada. They also have tropical punch, strawberry, new flavors like sea berry and strawberry lemonade. You can enjoy this stuff, man. But don't take my word for it. I want you to stop what you're doing right now and head over to liquidiv.com. Use the promo code Duke Loves Rasslin so you get 20% off your entire order. I mean, anything that you order on liquidiv.com. So what are you waiting for? It's time for you to shop better hydration today. Use the promo code Duke Loves Rasslin over at liquidiv.com. Save yourself 20%. Stay hydrated. Most importantly, enjoy life. That's right. Now let's get on with the show.
This is the Big A, Aiden Squartrito, and I want you to start following your dreams.
All right, brothers and sisters, we are keeping this train going with highlighting some of the top high school wrestlers in the entire country, especially these folks who are going to the national tournament. And on this episode, we have none other than a young man who is only a freshman. He is only been wrestling for 2 years. And despite that fact, he's already gotten 10 wins on varsity, placed 7th in the varsity states in middle school. And that was just his first year. So he's already above that this year, accepted into the national tournament, even took down the number 3 ranked wrestler in New England. Not bad, right? Most importantly, he's a great young man, and I'm so happy to have him on the show. So without further ado, welcome to Duke Loves Rasslin, the Big A himself, Aiden Squartrito. What's going on there, Big A?
Nothing much, Duke. Glad to be on the podcast.
Well, this is a long time coming, man, because I met you and your mom. Oh, my goodness. It's been about 7-8 years at one of the WWE pay-per-views. And you were just this little scrawny kid, yelling and screaming at the wrestlers there.
Yep.
Now, fast forward to today, where you're literally taking on the who's who, including number 3 ranked in New England, and actually being able to take them down. I mean, talk to me about that, man. Talk to me about growing up being a pro wrestling fan, and if that has influenced you on deciding to actually wrestle in school.
Definitely, when I was a kid, I was really interested in wrestling. I had all the figures and stuff, and my stepdad would take me to all the wrestling events and stuff with my mom, and it definitely influenced me to be the wrestler I am today. It definitely made me, think about doing it when I was in 8th grade. It's definitely inspired me, and seeing people out there definitely gave me a go to go do it.
Who are some of your favorite pro wrestlers, though?
I remember The Undertaker being my favorite just because, how menacing he is.
If you're able to get the type of size that The Undertaker has, oh my goodness, forget about that. The intimidation factor that The Undertaker is able to bring to the ring. I can see that. I can see that in you a little bit there because you're a guy that it's clear your opponents don't know what they're going to get. When they first look at you, you look like, okay, this kid's not as big as I am, and he hasn't been wrestling as long as I have, so this should be light work. And then the match happens and you just flip the switch, man, where you're literally just trying to take people out right from the beginning. Talk to me about that strategy of being so aggressive, literally right from the start of the match.
I think being aggressive right from the start is definitely a good way to, set the tone for the match and, make sure that I know I'm in control, even if this person's better than me. He's ranked higher. He weighs more than me. I don't mind because I know that if I can put my mind to, I can definitely do something with the match. And just because they're a better opponent than me doesn't mean that I can't win because it's still possible, and that shouldn't throw me off knowing that someone's better than me. And I definitely, as I said, I just want to set the tone for the match right at the beginning and make sure that person knows that they're not just getting a free pin.
You got that right. There are no free pins when it comes to the Big A. Okay, he means business here. It's interesting because, again, you've only been wrestling for a couple of years now. You, as a freshman in high school, you've already gotten 10 wins on varsity, which is just unheard of. I mean, for the most part, freshmen are supposed to do junior varsity, especially somebody with a lack of experience. You're supposed to do junior varsity and kind of get your legs under you there. But you've been able to step up and achieve some success. And certainly being invited to nationals where you're going to compete on that stage, that just proves that, you've arrived, so to speak, there. How does it feel, man? How does it feel to be able to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time?
It definitely feels great. I feel like I'm wrestling people that they have a lot more experience than me. I don't have the upper hand on them because of that. But it's definitely really cool that I'm doing all this stuff and all these achievements when it's only my second year, and I'm looking around and all these other people have been wrestling their whole life and stuff, but I'm only on my second year and I'm still, keeping up with them and stuff.
Now, I got to ask you here because, with all of that aggression, all of that speed, all of that determination that you bring into your high school wrestling matches, you better have a good diet to help fuel you up before you get out there. And certainly, I know that you have Italian roots. So talk to me about this here, Aiden. What is the big A? What is the Aiden Squartrito meal that can get him ready to get in that wrestling ring and get some pins?
My favorite meal that my mom makes is definitely chicken Alfredo with broccoli. Like chicken Alfredo broccoli pasta is like my favorite meal ever. Anytime I'm presented with it, it's just so good. I love it. My mom definitely makes it like at least one time a week because she knows how much me and my brother like it. But yeah, that's definitely what keeps me fueled. And every time I go to a match, I bring either liquid IV or Pedialyte to keep me hydrated. Definitely, like during a long day of tournaments, I want to stay hydrated. So that's what I'm mainly doing.
You hear that, folks? Aiden is bringing his liquid IV to the matches. Okay, and you know that Liquid IV actually is sponsoring this episode. And if you head over to liquidiv.com, you can save 20% off your entire order by using the promo code Duke Loves Rasslin. Altogether, no spaces. Duke Loves Rasslin. Save 20% off of that. If it's good enough for the big A, he's out there competing as a freshman and he's making moves, 10 wins on varsity, already making it to nationals. If Liquid IV is good enough to fuel him, it certainly is good enough to fuel you, folks. So shop better hydration today, liquidiv.com. That's right. That's really cool, chicken Alfredo. So I'm going to talk to your mom about that because I'm going to have to inspect this and make sure that it's good. Because who knows? Maybe I can become a wrestler after eating some of your mom's chicken Alfredo. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. It just keeps me fueled. It's the best way to be the best wrestler you can be. Eat my mom's chicken Alfredo.
I love it. How's everybody responding to you as a freshman? Not only, making it up to varsity and having matches on varsity, but legitimately finding some success. I mean, how are the older kids taking that?
They're definitely helping me, like in the room, like definitely drilling. They're definitely pushing me to my limits because they know my potential. Same with my coaches. They definitely do believe in me, and they see that this second year wrestler who's excelled in all this stuff, like all my accomplishments that I have, and I've definitely proved to them that I have a lot of potential, and they definitely see that.
That's awesome. Now, I know that it's early. You're a freshman. You got a long way to go, not just in your wrestling career, but in life. You got a long way to go there. But what are your goals? I mean, if you look ahead to the future, what are you striving to accomplish?
With all this wrestling stuff, I'm striving to get a scholarship to a school. I really want to go to college, and just a scholarship that's like my goal in wrestling. That's what I've been working to achieve. And I definitely think I can do it if I keep up what I'm doing.
Well, certainly. You stay determined. You continue to put the work in. And as you see, you'll get the results for sure there. Do you have any advice for anybody out there who may be considering going into wrestling, but they're not too sure? I mean, again, you're a person who you're only 2 years into it and you've already achieved so much. What do you say to anybody else who's thinking about it?
I say that you do it, you just commit to it, right now. Next season it starts, because right now is off season. Maybe go find a club or team that's you can go practice in the off season with, and to prepare yourself to wrestle in the actual season. It's definitely it's a great sport. It's like your teammates are like family to you, and so are your coaches. It's just you just need to do it. It's just such an amazing sport. It's just the leap of faith. You just got to take it.
Take the leap of faith. The big A is dropping some gems on us today here. I love it. That's good stuff there. Listen, if anybody wants to check out some of your matches, I know that you just recently started a YouTube and you're going to continue to add some stuff to it. What's the best way folks can check you out on YouTube?
Definitely just look up my name, Aidan space Squatrito, Aiden Squartrito, and I'm definitely going to post my matches more. And if you want to support me too, you can go check that out.
That's good stuff there. And once again, you can catch Aiden at the National championships for high school wrestling there, folks. It's going to be a big deal. In fact, in the show notes, I'm going to be leaving some information on how you can donate with the national championships. It is up to the wrestlers and their families. They have to bear the brunt of that cost to get the athletes to nationals so they can compete. So, and I've checked it out. I've vetted it. I am giving my stamp of approval on this. Once again, folks, you know I don't do solicitations too often there. But this is legit. And I know Aiden, I know his mom, checked it out, 100% it's legit. So again, in the show notes, you'll see the information. If you would like to assist Aiden on getting to nationals, certainly there's a way to do that. Aiden, listen, you're a great kid. I am so proud of you, you know, being able to watch you grow and see what you've been able to accomplish in such a relatively short amount of time. And I know that the sky's the limit for you. So I'm going to challenge you to continue to just be the great person that you are, continue to stick with your family, and continue to have fun. What do you say about that?
I appreciate that. I'm definitely going to stick to it.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.